Hey y'all, welcome to episode 210 of Consignment Chats. Ladies, how you doing today? We
Great.
we got to talk about goal setting. I mean, that is like a huge thing and we've been very much diving into this over the last several weeks. So we have a lot of great things to share, things to talk about. But before that, as usual, we are going to talk about our week and our businesses. But I want to start off kind of on a sad note, and I apologize, but this is necessary. The reselling community lost a pillar to our community. We lost Diane Lasan, who, if you've watched many of our episodes, you know that that would be her with her cute little necklace in the front. We've done a coloring book for her, her fund that she does. I'm sorry, y'all, I'm losing my words. Y'all got to step in.
The Fearless Living Fund. Yes, we are ambassadors for the Fearless Living Fund, which supports the Blind Center of Nevada. So we have some tutorials on how to get that linked up with your eBay business. And excuse me, we run a fundraiser, and Molly created this beautiful coloring book, and 50% of the proceeds from that in perpetuity go to the Fearless Living Fund, which is Diane's legacy fund. And it's just, if you've been to Boss or you've watched any of our videos on this topic, you know how amazing this is, that Diane took something that was devastating, scary, terminal, and turned it into a gift for the residents of the Blind Center of Nevada. I mean, it is just such a inspiring, beautiful thing.
Yeah. And it just speaks volumes for who she is. I don't want to get into the whole, like, as much of the coloring book as much as just who she is and why the reseller community is going to have a hole that will never be filled. Listen, we have a mini Diane. That would be Samantha. She's her mini me. There they are, the two sisters. If you're listening on podcast, we are sharing images with Diane on our YouTube channel. But she was a force to be reckoned with. And she was one of the people who is probably my absolute favorite personalities, is somebody who will tell you like it is, but it always comes from a place of love. So she will give it to you hard. She would give it to you fast. She would just be like on you, but it was never offensive, because for Diane, it was never about her. When she was giving it to you, it was about you and what she knew you could do or should do to be a better person. And
the little slap of reality, loving reality.
And I think everybody who knows Diane would say the same thing. I mean, that was just, to me, such a big part of who she was. She wanted everybody to succeed and everybody to feel love and be happy and be supported. And sorry.
She looked at me the one day and she goes, I said, isn't it crazy? People they want us to we just tell them how it is. Like, we tell them what we see. And she's like, yeah, sometimes I feel a little mean about it. She's like, but at the same time, I'm just doing it because I want them to be better. She's like, I wouldn't even be talking to them if I didn't want them to just be better, just be all that they can be. Like,
yeah. And you knew that. I mean, I don't know. Maybe there are people down the road that have been offended, but I'm usually one that is very soft-hearted, but never in a day did she offend me with anything that she told me, because you just, love radiates from her. So I just knew whenever she would say these things, it always came from a place of love. So, it would just be wrong for us not to give a moment here to Diane and to the reselling community, because there are hundreds, if not thousands of you out there that are feeling that loss. And as we all know, Diane does not want us to be sad. She wants us to go out and kick butt. She wants us to constantly do for others and give to others, and especially the Blind Center of Nevada, because that was her heart. But that is what she wants.
And live fearlessly.
live fearlessly, y'all. For somebody who went through all that she did, I've never seen anybody with fight like her.
I was gonna say, can we just talk about how her last goal? I mean, like every year she had a goal and she had like a cute little catchphrase for it. And her last one was to stay alive till 2025. And that woman passed away at 2 a.m. January 1st. Like, what?
Yeah.
Love it.
She has strength and will like no other. And I remember her earlier goal was to be at Boss Reseller Remix when it happened, a year ago plus. And we were worried she might not. And daggum, if she didn't show up, party like a rock star, give the first scholarships out up on stage, she was there for it. And what a blessing for all of us.
This is us on Fremont Street.
Yeah.
Having a great time.
She got there and she did it, and she did it with a smile. And, I just, there you have it, y'all. Yep. All right. There's our little, and if you want to know, I know the family's put out there on her services and stuff for those that may go, but in lieu of flowers, anybody who wants to support her, they're asking for donations to the Fearless Living Fund. So we will link that up down below.
And as our coloring book says, you can always add them as your charity. You can add the Blind Center of Nevada as your charity. And that is on eBay. And that is earmarked to go to Fearless Living Fund as well. So,
yeah. And we have a whole video on that, which I'm also going to link up. So if you want to do something, you can buy the coloring book. You can make a donation directly to Fearless. You can add them for eBay to charity. There are so many ways that you can support. If you don't want to make a monetary donation or you don't have the ability to do that, guess what? We have sustainable fundraising programs that we can teach you how to implement with your business to support it. Because the better you do, the more you can give.
It was like right after we got the messages that she passed that I got the email from eBay saying I made a donation to the Blind Center because it was the first of the month from the previous quarter or month or however often they do that. And I was like, well, that's perfect. Okay.
I love that. I love that. I love it. All right. So hearts, and those hearts that I'm showing today are blue. They are blue hearts because blue was Diane's favorite color. So blue hearts for Diane. We're going to move on because we could sit here and talk about her forever. And I don't want to cry because I did put mascara on today. And
what were you thinking?
I know. Anyway, let's move on to our weeks, ladies. How was your week?
Hey, y'all. Welcome to Consignment Chats. This is Molly, and I'll be joined by my co-hosts, Libby and Samantha.
It is, what's happening in this 2025.
Can we just talk about like the weird limbo time, right? Like I took last week pretty much, I worked a little bit, but I kind of took the week off. I finished my yearly goal for 2024. I finished my couch to 5K. And then I was like, girl needs a break. I am just beat. So, yeah. And then there's this like weird time between when we're starting our goals, which was today, when we're recording January 6th. So there was like a couple days in there where we're like, what do we do? This is weird. I don't feel like it. I don't know.
Right?
That kind of sums it up. But I'm ready to talk goals and hit the ground running and all of those good things.
It was definitely a weird limbo period. I mean, I was like cleaning my house and organizing things. And I mean, as people do, as decorations go out and get put back and do whatever, family events are being hosted. And so I was just kind of like, I've listed some things for myself. I listed and did a lot in the last couple of weeks, but in like a really weird, unconventional way. Like I wasn't in my office. I wasn't like sitting down and doing my time blocking. So I'm ready for the structure to come back for sure.
I pretty much stayed fairly structured through my time, y'all. I'm not going to lie.
You're an overachiever.
No, sadly what it boils down to is we don't have family around. So we didn't have a whole lot of stuff to do. So we worked. I mean, we did some estate sailing and we worked. we did. But
That's
but
awesome.
the whole time I was chomping at the bit for this new goal setting time that we're going to talk about in a little bit to start. Like it was like anticipation. I anticipate today because it starts today and we're going to talk about it a little bit, but I anticipated it like more than Christmas. I'm like dying for it to start. And today it started, which is why you see me so happy. But that could be a great segue into it, but I'm not ready because I know a couple of things we have to talk about, even if you're not ready. Number one, Samantha had a huge sale this week that I can't believe she didn't bring up from the get-go.
I haven't got there yet. Let me get to the right spot.
I mean,
can you see it on the screen?
Oh, you can see it.
So this was brought to me by Consignment. I have a Consignment unboxing video that I did and is on our YouTube, and this was in it. A new consignor, but she's also a reseller in my area, and she got this for $10 or $20. I don't remember. I feel like it was $10 at a thrift store about an hour away, and it had. Will it get bigger? Yeah, it had the date and everything on it, and so it was easy to
so
do
read
that part.
Date for those that are listening. Read out that.
Oh
date.
yes,
it's so great.
So this is a log cabin. Was that the kind it was? Yeah, log cabin ribbon quilt, and it was from 1897. It says made by the old ladies in the Presbyterian home for widows and single women, which I thought was kind of funny because it was then presented to a man, James McGee, in Christmas of 1897. So put that up, and I had it. I mean, I had it everywhere. We cross-list. So I had it eBay, Mercari. Pretty sure I had it on Poshmark, Etsy, and I had it for $1,800. Except $2,000 on Etsy because I uppriced there. I had put it on sale. Because I've had it for about 4 months. I had promoted and discounted on Mercari because I got a ton of watchers over there. It sold for full price, like the day after my sale ended on Etsy. Sold for full price of $2,000 plus shipping. They were all in for like $2,300. So that is going to someone in Tennessee, and I definitely added extra insurance onto that package.
Boom.
Yeah. It was funny because you sent the text and you were like, oh my God. And my son was here and, he loves thrifting and reselling and all that stuff. He was like, he had 10, I'm going to have to send him to this episode because he had 10 million questions for me. I'm like, I don't know. Well, how did you, and I'm like, I am sorry. I can't answer all of those questions. He was like, just beside himself over it.
I explained it in the unboxing too. I don't remember how much I cut out of that. That was my first editing video I ever edited. But that was so when she thrifted that, she sent me pictures and said, oh my gosh, look what I just found. She reached out to that home has since closed. It's in Pennsylvania. The home is closed, but there is a museum that has an exhibit to the home. And so she reached out to the museum via phone and email and never heard back from them. She was going to donate it to them. She was just going to ship it to them and give it to them. She never heard back from them. So she sat on it for about 6 months and then she sent it to me.
Wow.
And I haven't told her that it sold yet because I'm going to wait. And make sure everything goes through and it's fine because it's
that's the thing with those high-end items, especially consigned.
Normally I mark everything right away and then I just resell it if it's returned or whatever, and it's not that big a deal. But when it's the highest dollar item I've ever sold that wasn't a vehicle, that one's gonna wait. But she's gonna be so excited, and she keeps mentioning that she has more things for me to sell, and I think she'll be bringing them regularly once she hears about this.
I'm guessing she's in it to win it with you now, Samantha, for sure. Well, speaking of Etsy, I'm going to jump into another. I just had a notification pop up right as we were going on from Etsy, and it is feedback that Libby got. And Libby hasn't even seen it yet. Libby, I want you to hear this feedback because kudos to you, my friend. Hi, Libby. You have been the kindest, sweetest seller I have ever worked with. I will keep an eye on your shop for sure. Carolyn.
Aww.
What? Way
I
to
love it.
go.
That's
Way to
coming off a
go.
pretty rough episode with Etsy, but yeah, okay. That's pretty cool. Thanks,
Yeah.
Dale Carnegie.
Yeah, I was about to say that
Yes.
comes from your book. I couldn't remember the name of it, but
How to
How to
win friends
influence-
and influence people.
Yes.
yeah. Yeah, you two can join our free book club and learn how to get feedback like that. Yeah, that popped up and I was
Oh,
like, oh,
that's
I'm
so sweet.
screenshotting that. Yeah.
Oh,
Super,
thank you.
that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I love
Pretty-
that. And we had this conversation a little bit beforehand, and I've been listening to some podcasts that they talk, a lot of podcasts and a lot of people, including us when we have them, talk about negative feedback. And it's a part of reselling. It's going to happen. It's a part of, dealing with customers. But we get so much more positive feedback than we do negative feedback. Like that one negative feedback, and people dwell on it forever. Just like
Right.
anything that you tell everybody about the negatives. Let's shift to the positive in 2025. Read all those positive ones and remember that the majority of the people are happy with what you're doing.
All right,
Right.
so I got to tell you guys that feedback from that person was an order I canceled. I had to cancel because it sold on eBay first.
Oh,
Wow.
that makes it even better. Good
Right.
job.
So it wasn't coming off of a happy customer with a great shipment. It was coming off of a canceled order. So
Wow.
Good job.
there
Yeah.
you have it.
If that doesn't make you want to join book club, I don't know what will. I don't know what will.
All right.
Oh. All right. So I'm going to use book club as our segue
I was
into
just saying.
our goals.
Yeah.
Because our goals, part of what we're doing personally, the three of us and some others in our Patreon, is setting goals through a specific book that was recommended us by one of our Patreon members, one of our sea chatters. So let's talk
Jason,
about
the
goal
Santee
setting.
swapper, it is all your fault. There. Okay.
All your fault. Wait a minute. No, I've been grateful for. Are you? He's changing my life with this
I know.
book.
I know. It's amazing. It's amazing. I just said when anything goes wrong, it's Jason's fault.
It's all your fault.
They
So
say,
let's talk about-
hey, I'm going to read this book and think about this kind of process. And then Libby's like, let's do a whole thing on it. Let's go. And that's Jason's fault. Like,
Right.
It was a
right,
joint.
right.
It was a joint venture. We just spiral.
So
Yeah.
let's start first by talking about just goal setting. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
new year, right?
Yeah.
So goal setting as a whole. Is it something you do every year? How do you do it? We want to know in the comments, y'all. Let us know how you've set your goals in the past. How'd you set your goals this year?
Yeah.
Do you do
so,
them?
I mean, yeah, let us know. Like in our Patreon last year, we all set yearly goals. And a year's a long time. I learned a very valuable lesson last year. You guys have heard me struggle through it. You've heard it on Reseller Reflections. You've heard it here. You've heard it everywhere. I got to the fourth quarter. My goal was a monetary one. I got to the fourth quarter and I realized I needed to run a freaking marathon.
but
You did.
you
And I
ran,
did.
you not only ran the marathon, you recognized that you needed to run the marathon, and you didn't pull a Samantha and go, wow, that goal was super unattainable this year. So hopefully the economy is better next year, and just move on. Because I did not run any marathons at all. I only run when there's a bear chasing me, and that doesn't happen. So you went above and beyond for your business. You did
And
great.
I have to say, I got a little flack, but it was well-intentioned from quite a few people. And it was all well-intentioned. I don't mean that it was it wasn't negative. They were like, well, you know what? Like things have changed. Why don't you change your goal? Why don't you and I knew I wasn't going to personally feel good about that. Like I
Right.
wanted to hit it. Like I needed that confidence to say, you know what, I can do this. I can hit it. And I did get a lot of people that were like, that's just crazy. Like I don't, give yourself a break.
Well, you worked your booty off, and like what, 3 days before the end of the year, you hit that goal. So yeah, you nailed it. Good job.
Yeah. So,
Well,
Ray, can I talk about like for just a second all right. So, because I don't want to go back to this. So I ran that like last quarter marathon, right? Because I had set my goal in the beginning of the year. I had, was $1,000, $5,000 short here, and it added up to a very large sum at the end of the year, how much I was short. So I'm running this like 12-week marathon to get to the sales. And Jason texts me and he's like, I think you would enjoy this book. And it's all about condensing your goals down into 12 weeks into a quarter. And he's like, that's pretty much what you're doing. And if you did this last year, you wouldn't be in the situation you're in now because you would have been keeping up with it and running that marathon, or at least sprinting a little bit for 12 weeks, every 12 weeks, not the last 12 weeks of the year. So anyway, all right, go ahead.
Plus it's great for people like me that just can do small chunks. And after that small chunk, my focus is gone. It's moved on to something else. Well, this is designed for that because I will then move on to something else.
Well, I thought to myself when I started reading this book that we're going to delve into more, I had this reflection moment where I thought, has there ever been in my entire life a New Year's resolution / goal that I actually succeeded in?
Right.
And the answer was a big, brutal no. Never.
Me neither.
I have never completed. Now, I've helped Libby complete her goal this year, but I have never set a New Year's resolution or a New Year goal and actually succeeded. Ever.
And they say most people only stick to them for like 6 to 10 weeks. So we're going to do 12.
Yeah, a year is so long. Like you don't know. Like I had no idea when I set that goal where I was going to be in November, December.
Right.
Like that was just too much.
Well, and I think one of the things that was mentioned that really resonated with me is when you have such a long period of time for a goal, it's so easy to say, I didn't get much done this week, but that's okay. I got a year. I got 6 months. That's okay. Yeah. It's so easy to push things because you got so much time.
It's only $5,000, that's fine. I have until the end of the year. It's only $10,000. I got until the end of the year. Like, and it just
snowballed. It's okay. Q4 will make up for this. If 2024 taught us anything, Q4 sometimes sucks and will not make up for it. I did hold back. That was the filtered version because I wanted some swear words in there. But but yeah, like I mean, that's myself, and a lot of people had the it's okay. It's just summer slowdown. It's just, October is just kind of weird. It'll be better after the election. It's okay. Well, you got to put the work in and you got to stick to your goals and you got to do what you need. Yeah. So while we've been preparing for the new year and talking about our goals and what we're setting, we've been having conversations about how we break those goals down. Do you track them weekly? Do you track them daily? Do you have, quarterly? Like, what are you tracking and what are you doing? And last night, when we were in our Patreon meeting, resetting for the week, I had looked at my goals and I'm going to be tracking them weekly. Well, then I also forgot to mention that my handy dandy little intention journal also helps me break things down daily. It also helps me doodle. So there's that. But but that it may not like be directly related to my yearly goal, my monthly goal, my whatever, but however you set goals, like sometimes it's okay to just say you're going to clean off that one shelf. Like that's your goal for the day. That shelf needs to be cleaned off. Like, so let us know if maybe that's the type of goal setter that you are. You're just taking it a day or a week at a time, and you're just kind of going with the flow of what's around you and what you need to get done.
The thing that was like one of the things that was really helpful for me this year, and we've read it in every stinking book, but I just couldn't wrap my head around it, was having a vision. Like, what do you want your life to be? What are you working toward? What is your vision? Who are you? And I just couldn't wrap my head around it. I don't know until now, where I set a vision. Like, I've never really done a vision board, but now I have a really strong vision, and that just really, I don't know, that just really helps, I think, to know where you're going, like what you want. I don't know, did you guys feel that at all?
I agree. And I think that I've done vision boards in the past. I mean, Libby, I think you and I did vision boards like 3 years ago or so. I think, again, popping this book in there again, what they said that got to me is you have to have an emotional connection to it. Like, it's easy to put words down, but you're not going to succeed if you don't feel it, if you don't truly connect with it. And so my vision was totally different than any I've ever done before, because I sat on that for a while. Like, I remember you're like, well, did you do your vision? Nope, not yet. Did you? Nope, not yet. No. Like, I needed to sit on that for a while, because I needed to get myself in a place to really emotionally connect with what my vision was, so that it set in more.
It was hard. It was hard at first because it's so vague. Like, there are examples and the things are just like, I want to be happy and successful. Like, and I had a hard time like getting past that. And it's like, well, what does happy and successful look like for you? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm happy and I'm successful. I don't like, it took me a while to say, okay, actually that means that next year I want it to look like this in my life, or I want to be doing more of this, or I want to be spending more time with these people, or like to be able to make an actual picture of like, what does happiness look like to me? That was the hard part.
Right.
Yeah, it's some soul searching, but that's, I mean, like Molly said, it's the emotional connection, because what do you do on a day when you don't feel like it?
Yeah.
You look at your vision.
Yeah. Yeah.
And nobody's going to roll through the next 12 weeks or the next year and not have a down day, not have a day when they don't feel like it. It's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
Yep.
It's going to happen.
That you can count on.
Today's doodle was the tired one, but I'm going to get happy. And
I love that you put an arrow there.
I'm going to get happy, because
she's really creative with those moods on the intention journal.
I feel like crap. That's my challenge, but I still need to list. Oh yeah, there's got this.
Yeah. So, all right, let's talk more about, I know this is not like a book club, but let's talk more about the details of this particular book, The 12-Week Year, and why we chose to do such a deep dive with a group of people on this. Like, what?
Yeah, so it's our intention. If you missed it this time and you're like, hey, you know what, this really appeals to me, it is closed for the next 12 weeks, or it is our intention to open it up again after these. Well, it'll be 13 weeks to open it up again and do the intensive reseller program again. We're expecting that this is going to be successful.
So don't say, oh, great, I'll just wait 12 weeks. No, get the book now, read the book, listen. There are multiple free audio versions on YouTube. Just search 12-Week Year and you'll get the whole book read to you by some man that has a weird voice, but it's fine.
I liked it. Okay.
I had to listen to him at like 1.5 or something. I don't know. But listen to it now. You can even start your vision and your goal setting and all that. You don't have to wait for us, but do it now so that you're ready for the next one, because it doesn't matter, if you have this tier or that tier or whatever. I mean, it does for part of it, but there's other things on top of that. Not everybody in that tier gets to be in this intensive course. Like, it's also, the next one's going to be even better because we're learning together on this one, and the next one we're going to be kicking even more butt.
I have to say, all right, this you might have to cut this out. I don't know if it's going to sound weird, but
Oh, I am totes not.
I feel like my whole existence, I've always been the most intense one in a project, in a room. Like, I'm generally the one that is like focused and intense and hardcore.
Yes.
That is not the case with this intensive reseller program. Like, I am like, you're
telling other people, to calm down and not overthink it so much. And I'm like, did Libby just say someone not to overthink it?
It's such a weird, it's so exciting for me because it's cool. And it's like a lot of like, just to be around people that are as intense about it and as excited and as into it. It's just such a phenomenal experience for me.
Samantha, she's so excited that we're all geeking out with her now.
She's like, these are my people, which she says a lot, but like, she really means it now.
Yes.
Yeah, I want to back up to Samantha saying, get that book now, start reading it if you want to join us in phase 2. I wanted to pop in there. I am going to highly recommend, because I thought it was just me. I got the hard copy book. I got it on Audible. I put my earphones on. I listened and read it at the same time with a highlighter, and ended up with a notebook jotting notes down on top of that. That is how amazing this book was, and how there were so many like tidbits and crumbs that were just amazing. So specific ones got written in the notebook. A whole lot of highlighting got put all over my hard copy. But then and I thought, boy, I'm really a little crazy about this book. And then I was watching somebody else on YouTube who did it, and they were like, I was writing notes, highlighting, and I'm like, yes, thank you. I'm not insane. So get a notebook. Just have a notebook ready. You don't have to listen. If listening and reading at the same time isn't good for you, I just really wanted to, I'm ADD. I needed to really focus and lock in. So it was a great way for me to lock in, to physically be reading it along with somebody, just really hit it home for me. But make sure your highlighter is ready to roll, and have a notebook with a pen or pencil, because there will be some big whoa moments that you're going to want to make sure are outside of that book written down.
I mean, and even if you're just like not that into it, and you're like, you listen to this book, I can guarantee you will be 10% better by the time you finish reading it. If you will pick up at least one thing, if not 10 things. Like, even if you just read it and you think, I'm not going to implement it, it will. I can't imagine anybody picking it up, and I haven't heard of anybody, and there are a lot of us that has picked it up and not been touched by something, or not improved one aspect of their life in some way.
I think they actually wrote it personally for me. I think y'all are just coming along, but I truly believe that they wrote this book for Molly Liska. It was written for me.
I love
because
it.
It is like everything that I struggle with, the answers are in this book. They're there on a platter.
Wow. You might be taking over book club. We might need to. I don't know.
She's like, no.
I got other. That's not one of my goals. Sorry, it's not making it. I already got my goals set.
We didn't even complete the last book for the Flippin' Fun Book Club, so we probably shouldn't be in charge of the business one.
Correct. We're going to leave Libby in charge of this one.
Yeah, that's why we need you.
So,
I just wanted to
go ahead, Samantha.
I just wanted to say, I put at the bottom that we now have a 24-hour co-working room. When it was a few weeks ago, Jill and I were in the co-working room. I think someone else popped in and out, but we all muted each other and we were listening to it, and then we would stop, we'd pause it and say, oh, hey, like when the light bulbs flashed or when things clicked into place, and I'd be like, oh, okay, this is what a lead indicator is. Okay, this is what and we would like stop and have a discussion. We kind of had our own little book club in the co-working room.
I gotta say, like, I'm a little jealous. I'm having a little jealousy moment here.
I'm a little left out right now.
Well, you should list more at 11 p.m. at night. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
Not gonna happen.
No, I see. Sleep is a priority.
That is not part of my vision, Samantha.
No.
I sleep in. You guys get a lot done when I'm still like in bed. So
yeah. So anything specific in your goals? I mean, this can be, I mean, yes, we know we all set our goals based on this book, but anything specific you want to mention about your goals this year or this 12 weeks for us, y'all? Because I know a lot of you are thinking, I set my goals for the year. Well, we didn't. We set ours for a 12-week year. What goals you set that may be different than things you've done in the past, something that you're, I don't know, excited about, just something of what you've got going that you started today, because y'all, today we're recording and this is the first day that you're like, this is awesome.
Yeah, I
don't know if they're actually different. I think I'm just more focused on them, but it's also the first day. So, I mean, let's ask that question again in a month.
I was like going to say, all right, in 13 weeks, we need to come back here and see if we're as excited, if we got to where we want it to be, what we learned.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah. I don't think I've set anything differently. I mean, I have business goals. I love that last year, somehow in the course of our wonderful mastermind group that we do, we started adding health goals as well. So we have our business priority, and then we have a personal health priority, whether it's, you know, looking outside at the blue sky for 5 minutes a day, or, you know,
drink water.
Drink water, going for a run for those weird people that like to run. I don't know. Like, that's you, Billy. But I don't get it. But we added that on there. So last year compared to this year, I would say that is crazy out of my norm to actually set and have like very specific things that I am tracking for my health. Like, I mean, everybody at the beginning of the year is like, I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to feel better, I'm going to eat better. But like, setting very specific things to accomplish a health goal in the next 12 weeks has definitely been different for me. I don't feel that it's crazy because we've been talking about it for months in our Patreon, but it's definitely different than what I would normally do January 1st.
Yeah. And I think for me, what's different that I'm most excited about is that I've walked into this with an organized, you know, place where all of this is, so that I know I've made these goals before. I've done all these goals before, but I've never had them beautifully organized, with broken down into weeks, with tactics and what I'm going to do each day in order to meet that weekly goal, which then gets me to the 12-week goal. And the breakdown and the fact that all that is there is beautiful, because guess what? I get to check boxes, and y'all know that is such an exciting thing for me. I live for to-do lists and check boxes, and I've already checked a couple this morning, and they are all lined up. And I don't know. It's just a whole different organization for me. And the fact that it's all down in writing and broken down in such an organized way that they helped me do, that the book helped me do, I've never had it broken down to this extent. So that is what makes me feel like I'm going to be so much more successful than I was in the past.
Yeah, I have to agree with what you both said. That's the specifics, right? Like, I'm going to do, and I kind of did this when I came up with the listing calculator, right? Like, this is what you need to do 5 days a week. This is how much you need to list. But to do that with the health goals too is amazing, because I think, you know, what does a good day look like?
Right.
It's not generic. It's like, you need to do this. Okay.
Right.
Yes. Because I want to
Well,
check
it's
that
just-
box too, Molly.
right. It's the things to me like, okay, so business, I made my monetary business goal. This is what I want to bring home in a year. So I broke it down. This is what I want. This means this much in 12 weeks, which means this much in a week. And then I had to think about what tactics I'm going to have. Like, how am I going to get there? What am I going to do in my daily life to make sure that that happens? Right. So just that process of breaking that down and thinking that through, it was just a whole, I don't know, it's totally different for me to break that down like that. And
Yeah. I mean,
really,
I like, what would we do before? It'd be like, okay, well, I want to make this much a month. And then it was kind of, you just throw your hands up or throw spaghetti at the wall and be like, all right,
right,
well, I guess it's a good month. I guess it's a bad month. And you're just like riding this flipping roller coaster and you want to
right.
get off, like you're feeling sick.
Right?
They won't stop the ride.
The spaghetti turned into spaghetti poodles. You're over it. It's done. So
Spaghetti poodles.
not only are we breaking it down with the 12-week year, we are also, speaking of book clubs, breaking it down with the slight edge that starts in a couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be another tool that I think as we pivot, because we're still talking and learning about, okay, like we have all of these tasks that we're going to do to meet our goal in the next 12 weeks. And then at what point do we decide maybe I need to change my tasks to help meet this goal? Like you got to tweak things throughout, or you don't just wait until the end and go, oh crap, that didn't work.
That didn't work.
I think by starting the slight edge, especially a couple weeks into this, is really going to help us break down those tasks even more or modify them and like, okay, this is what I need to do instead. So I think it's going to be a great Q1.
Yes, it is. I'm just really excited.
I am too. Oh, and the thought process again, I'm backing us up again because my brain is all over the place right now. Oh God.
Back it up.
Breaking down your goals, like we were talking about the health goals, and mine is to lose a specific amount of weight. And when I was thinking about the tactics of what's going to help me get there, right? So of course, movement, water, eat better, like you think of those normal things, but it made me think even more in depth of put my shoes on every day. I work from home. I hate wearing sneakers. I am barefoot all day long.
She is.
My new tactic that I'm trying out this 12 weeks is to put socks and sneakers on every morning by 8 a.m. Because if I have my sneakers on, then when my little times come up to do my dance parties or get on my machine, or I'm like ready, let's do it. Like I can stand up and dance because I got my sneakers on.
Are your shoes on right now? You got the
Yes,
sneakers?
ma'am. Hold on.
All right. I want to
This
see them.
is such a cool. That was so brilliant. Yes.
Yeah.
Go.
So
Wow.
that's the kind of stuff that I'm thinking so much more in depth now than I ever did before. So
I love that.
that's
I mean,
inspiring.
that's similar to one of my goals and Jill and I have talked about this because she took time off from her day job because she still works a full-time day job. And she's like, how do you even like you can just stay in your pajamas and you can just like, how do you even like structure? I don't even get it. Like, and I was like, well, a big thing for me when I first left my job and started this full time was to put makeup on, mascara, like just a simple, like I needed to make sure I washed my face, brushed my hair, and put makeup on, even though nobody was going to see me in the beginning and I wasn't going to be anywhere. But it's just an act of like, okay, now I'm in work mode and need to be ready for the day. Yeah. Still in sweatpants, but that's okay.
It's a psychological thing. I mean, it is. It's a psychological thing. And for me, it's a battle of the lazy. Like if I'm like, okay, I really should get up and dance now, but that means I got to go find my shoes and I got to get socks and I got to put them on. And then the next thing you know, I'm doing something completely different because just having to go find the socks and get the shoes and get them on. I know that sounds simple. People do it every day, but when you're home and you're like any excuse to not do it is
Right.
like, for me, for old me, I'm going to call that old me,
There we
would be like
go.
out. So those are the kind of things I'm trying to think, like, what kind of things did I self-sabotage myself in the past with, and how can I avoid those?
Yeah,
So,
I think that's a really good point, because when we're setting goals, great, you have a goal in mind, you have a vision, you have all that. What is stopping you from doing that already? What are your roadblocks? What are your things that you need to, your roadblock was having to go find shoes and socks, and then halfway through the hallway you're like, oh, look at that shiny thing, because I do the same thing.
right.
Or not get up at all. I'll just do it again in an hour, it'll be fine. And yeah, assessing those roadblocks and building your tasks around what those are. Because, I mean, let's be real, whatever goals we set, we could be doing those already. So why are we not reaching those goals already? Just because we didn't set them? Like, no. Like, what is it that's stopping you?
Mhm.
I love that. Good job.
And we have to be accountable every week. Every week we have to score ourselves. And that is by far probably my favorite part of this, because I am by myself. I'm here. I could choose to do nothing all day, right? Like, who am I accountable to? I'm accountable to y'all for certain things that have to get done. But if I don't want to listen, I don't have to work. I don't have to do this. I don't have to do that. But now I do, because I have got to come to a meeting once a week and reveal my scores.
Well, and I
own that.
Yeah, and I think Libby's been in my head a little bit, so that's creepy again. I was thinking, like, just yesterday, the day before, and I'm like, well, we do that in our mastermind where we set a weekly goal, and then the next week I ask if they went over it, and Libby asked me, so I'm accountable too. And like, yeah, like I can go in there just like I do everywhere else and say yay or nay. Did I list, $2,200 worth of stuff or whatever my goal is? But no, she came in last night and she was like, look at these scorecards. Everybody's going to put their tasks on them. And I'm going to ask about your tasks. And did you complete those? And did you? And I'm like, shit. Yeah, this is real. This is.
She meant shoot, y'all.
Shoot. Yeah. Darn.
It's fine.
Yeah, the amount of times I want to swear on this is a lot better than when I actually do. So, but yeah, I was like, oh, that's really going to make me be more accountable to like that. Samantha, did you list $2,200 worth of stuff? And then, yeah, I did. Or no, I didn't. And then, okay, well, how did you do on X, Y, and Z? Oh, crap. I didn't do Z at all. Dang it. Okay.
Right.
Maybe that's why I didn't meet my goal. All right. Yeah.
Yeah. That accountability thing in this form, your accountability has been great. But again, I don't know. It's just, I guess because it's in writing. That's the difference for me, is that it is, I have it organized, and it's on my iMac, it's on my MacBook, it's on my phone, and it's on my iPad. Like, whatever thing I get on, it's there. And it is in writing.
Well, and the mastermind accountability is something that we change. I mean, you can change it every week. A lot of times we'll do it for a month or a couple of weeks or whatever, but it's something like, all right, Libby, you were going to clean out your closet last week. How did you do with that? And, I got halfway through my closet, but I decided I actually want to do shoes instead. So then they change it to shoes. That's not how this is going to be. This is going to be, you set these goals for 12 weeks. How did you do with them? And then if they had roadblocks or we need further discussion, then we set it up. So it's right before mastermind. We go into mastermind and you can tweak and set goals and discuss with the group in there and figure out why you're not, but you don't get to change your goal. Like that's your goal for 12 weeks. And why aren't you cleaning out that closet? Like
that's right. Go in and say, I don't know. I just didn't walk that much. I didn't do my dance parties that much this week. And then Samantha's going to say, did you put your sneakers on at 8 a.m.?
Yeah.
I mean, the reality of it is I think most of us and you guys listening know, nobody cares if you do something or you don't do it. Like, you're the only one that really cares. Like,
I do a little bit. Like, I want you to clean out your closet.
Samantha might. Yeah. Samantha does. Yeah. No, Samantha does in mastermind.
It drives me nuts when people change their things. But
yeah. But that's something we all struggle with, is like, all right, well, if I don't do it today, nobody cares.
Right.
Yeah.
So why
Yeah.
should I care?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a dangerous trap.
Now we have to self-check ourselves. We have to look at ourselves and go, you
I have to look
did
at
or
Libby.
didn't do this.
Everybody knows that I'm the accountability queen, but like they don't realize that Libby's like the sleeper accountability queen. She's
Well,
there.
I love when we're
She's
in
there.
mastermind and you're like going to do your own accountability. Every week this happens, guys. Every single week in our mastermind, Samantha's like, okay. And I and I was like, you can't do your own. Like, I'm going to ask you and I'm going to ask you specifics. You try to get by with that every single week.
I do. Yep. We will play that game again tomorrow. Yes. Yep.
I love it. I love it. All right. So no matter how you set your goals for this year, just remember, my big advice to you, whatever your plan is, come up with some kind of accountability. Come up with a group, come up with a couple of friends, a neighbor, somebody you have coffee with on a weekly. Come up with some way that you can be accountable to yourself and then need to share that. Because if you need to share it, then you're going to focus more on being accountable to yourself. That's the thing. I can say, oh, I'm going to be accountable to myself. And then, like you say, nobody cares. I'm not telling anybody, so it really doesn't matter. So I can walk away. Well, now I can't because I have to be accountable to myself. I have to look at where I am. It's going to be right in my face. But then I have to meet with a group of like-minded, amazing people and look them in the Zoom faces and say, this was my percentage of success this week.
And you think it's just going to be weekly every Tuesday. However, your goal was to put your shoes on by 8 a.m. and we have a motivation in minutes at 8:50 a.m. So every morning at 8:50, I'm going to be like, where your shoes, girl? Where they at? All of a sudden, she changes her time to 9.
I'm going to link up 2 of my reseller reflection videos in this video because the first one is about what derails you. And the second one is going to be how to get back on track.
Yes.
So, I mean, those are things that you guys need to consider. I'll talk about them in detail in the reseller reflections, but I am going to link them up here because it's something you have to consider. You're not going to have a perfect 12 weeks, or a perfect year. There's going to be stuff. And you're not living, you're not moving if there's not stuff, if there's not something that happens that can throw you off. But you got to be ready for that.
Yeah, you got to be ready. You got to be able to pivot. You got to be open to it. I also wanted to mention that. So you got to have a personal goal too, like a fun goal. Like, do you want to get outside more in 2025? Do you want to? Last year, I came to the realization that I had not done any puzzles in 2023, like none, not a single one. And y'all know how much I love doing a puzzle.
Yeah.
So in 2024, I had like my downtime was puzzling, and I kept track when I would take a picture of them. I mean, like I list them all when I'm done with them, but I would take a picture and put it into a folder on my phone. And I looked yesterday, I need to make a video of it. I did 40 puzzles just on my own. That doesn't include the ones I did with family and at gatherings or whatever, but 40 puzzles in 2024. So
wow,
have some sort of fun goal. I'm hoping to reach that again for 2025. I'm not like setting, I just want to keep up with doing puzzles. And I did a couple yesterday, which are already listed and on my website. So yeah.
I was going to say something funny, and now I can't remember how you worded it. You said something puzzling. I realized I wasn't puzzling, or
it was puzzling. It was puzzling how much I wasn't puzzling in 2023.
Puzzling, how much you were puzzling. All right. Make sure, guys, that you let us know in the comments what your plans are. What kind of goal setting have you done for this 2025? What kind of goal setting? Do you have some place to be accountable, somebody to be accountable to, a way to self-check, and then share that so that it makes you stay focused? All right.
We want to have the best 12-week year or best 2025, depending on where you are and what you're doing with you this year.
Until next time.
Cheers. I didn't even interrupt. Only Libby did. I just want that to be on the record.
Thank you for joining Libby, Molly, and Samantha, the ladies of Consignment Chats, as we grow your reselling business. For all things Consignment Chats, visit us at consignmentchats.com and join our free private communities on Facebook and or Patreon.